a cartridge. And the cartridge, which is ammunition, is comprised of a cartridge case, powder primer, and then a bullet, which is the projectile, all in one creates the cartridge. When the cartridge is loaded into a firearm and the trigger is pulled, the firing pin of the firearm strikes the head stamp of the cartridge, causing an explosion with the primer, causing the bullet to propel down the barrel of the firearm and out. And then the cartridge case that remains is then ejected from the firearm. It usually ejects back into the right.
So you have indicated you found one cartridge case. Where was that?
That was at the desk just in front of the table that was on the back left side. It was on the floor.
All right. And then with respect to the firearm, what did you observe about the firearm itself?
The firearm itself, I noticed initially that the slide was back partially. And the slide is the top piece of the firearm. And then I was able to get on the floor and look, and I could see at the opening that there was a cartridge jammed in the top of the firearm.
Okay. And would that have been an unspent cartridge, could you tell?
Correct. It had not been fired.
Okay. And did you determine whether there were any other unfired rounds or cartridges in the firearm?
Yes, once the firearm was cleared for safety by my sergeant in my presence, we observed, or I observed 6 Win 9mm Luger cartridges and the 7th from the chamber.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Wells. Please answer any questions from the defense counsel.
Sure. Yes, sir.
No, we don't have any questions.
Okay, no questions. All right, the status for this witness.
She'll remain on call, Your Honor.
Any objection? Okay, so Ms. Wells, you're free to leave the building, but you're still sequestered, so you cannot discuss your testimony until you've received information that the case is over.
All right.
Okay, and they have your contact information, they need to call you back.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next witness.
Commonwealth calls Jennifer West.
All right, thank you. Okay. Please stand in front of Madam Clerk to be sworn in. I'm going to get to walk all the way around the front.
Richneck, do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, full truth, and nothing but the truth?
And Ms. West, please enter the witness stand right here. And as you go around the corner, there's a step. Watch the step. You can adjust the chair and microphone. Please answer questions the attorneys may have.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Could you please tell us your name?
Jennifer West.
And Ms. West, how are you employed?
I'm a teacher.
Now, I want to take you back to January of 2023. Were you a teacher then as well?
Yes.
What school did you teach at?
Richneck Elementary.
How long have you been a teacher?
23 years.
And what grade did you teach at Richneck back in January 2023?
First grade.
Could you help us understand where, if you know, do you know where Ms. Zwerner's classroom was?
Across the hall from mine.
Okay. Taking you back to that January 6th date in 2023, on that day, based on for whatever reason, did you end up observing a student named JT while he was at recess?
Yes,
And where was your class at that time?
also at recess.
Okay. And while you were observing JT, could you describe, just as if it was a movie that we were watching, just the actions that you observed?
He and another
And I'm
student-
sorry for interrupting you, but I need to at this point, because I forgot to remind you, we're not using any names of students. You can say a student or you can use initials, but please don't say the names of any students.
He and another student kept going behind the rock wall, and there's a large tree on the playground. They'd go back there and come back out, and I just was watching their interactions.
Do you know the initials of the other student?
RR.
And do you know the initials of the
JT.
first? Okay. So describe for us what exactly JT and RR were doing in as much detail as you can remember.
It's hard to remember specific details, but I did write down notes the day of, and I reviewed those before coming.
When you reviewed your notes, did that help you refresh your recollection about what happened?
Yes.
Okay, well, then what happened?
They were staying together, very close together. They kept going behind the rock wall, going behind the tree, kind of being secretive, trying to avoid other people.
Okay.
I'm gonna object. Secondly,
I'll agree that the trying to avoid other people part should be stricken.
Okay, so sustain, strike that part, trying to avoid other people, but you can't consider going behind the rock wall. Next question.
Ms. West, when recess ended, did you have a conversation with RR?
After we got back in the building.
Okay. And before I ask you to tell us what RR said, can you just describe his physical demeanor, how he appeared to you?
So I asked him to come speak with me to ask him about what we had observed at recess.
And before you tell us what he said, I just want to know his demeanor, how he appeared.
He was visibly shaken, nervous. I asked him what they had been doing, and he said...
Okay, hold on. Before you tell us what he said, I'll ask judge and counsel if we need to voir dire this witness. Just hold on just a moment, okay?
Your Honor, I think based on previous rulings, that the court will allow her to testify, but we're objecting for the record that any statements that she may have heard from RR are hearsay.
Okay, you're continuing, your exception is noted, thank you. All right, you may proceed, Mr. Jenkins.
Tell us what RR reported to you.
He first said he couldn't tell me, and I reassured that he could. And he said, I can't. He said that he would hurt us, that he would blow us up. He was referring to JT at the time. And then he said that JT had a gun. And at that time, I asked him what it looked like to kind of confirm whether it was real or not. And he said that he saw the bullets, and I said, well, what color? And he said they were bullet colored. And at that point, he was crying, and I had RR come into my classroom.
And then once RR was in your classroom, did you place a call?
I did. I called the front office
And what was the purpose of that call?
to report what RR had told me.
Okay. And who answered the phone?
Mr. Sims, our music teacher.
Okay. Thank you. If you could give me just a moment. I want to now fast forward a little bit and jump forward. Later in the day, did some students come running into your classroom?
Yes, I think it was just before 2 o'clock.
Hold on. Can you back up from that for a moment and just walk us through what happened that you observed or heard in the moments before students came into your classroom?
I heard a gunshot and I immediately knew what it was. And I went to my classroom door, opened it, and Abby's students came running out, and I ushered them into my classroom. And I could see that Abby was standing. She had just exited her room, and I could tell that her hand was bloody and there was blood on the floor. Once the last student that was on their way out came out, I shut my door and proceeded to lock down, turn off the lights, and settle the students.
In as much detail as you remember, can you describe the behaviors that you observed, the demeanor that you observed of the students as they came in?
They were terrified, many of them crying. RR was situated behind me. I was sitting on the floor with the students around me, and he kept repeating, "I told you. I tried to keep you safe. I told you." And I just kept reassuring. There were a few students who were trying to tell me what happened, but I didn't want my class that didn't witness it to hear all of the details. And I just kept reassuring them that we were okay.
Were some of the children were crying?
Yes.
All right. Ms. West, thank you for your testimony. I don't have any more questions for you right now. Please answer any questions from defense counsel.
Yes, sir.
All right. Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm okay.
I understand that you're upset, and that's reasonable. Whose student was RR? Was that your student?
No, that was Abby's student.
Okay. Did you have a relationship with RR? Or?
I try to have relationships with as many students as I can. So, yes.
Okay. And when you had contact with RR after recess, could you tell us again what prompted that?
What I was observing at recess was RR and JT kept going behind the rock wall behind the tree, and I asked him to come tell me what was going on at recess.
Okay. Did you, during that recess time, did you believe that JT possessed a firearm?
I was not convinced until I spoke with RR.
Okay. So while the children were out on the recess, you did not feel a sense of danger or imminent harm to the children. Is that correct?
I don't really know how to answer that. We were kind of observing. I had been told that Dr. Parker had been made aware.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to that statement.
Objection to that. If this is a question that he asked, and moreover, just a moment ago, he asked the question, what prompted her to talk to RR? And she's entitled to answer the questions that he asks.
And so, again, we don't know what the answer is going to be, and it doesn't make it necessarily admissible. But that is hearsay that she was told. So at this point, we cannot consider that unless it comes in under another exception.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next question.
Okay. So based on your observations of RR, you weren't convinced that he possessed a firearm. Is that correct?
I was convinced they were hiding something.
Okay. Had you believed that he possessed a firearm, would you have taken steps to exclude him from the presence of the other students?
I'm not sure how to answer that.
All right, I'll ask it a different way. If a student possesses a firearm, should you take steps to exclude them from the presence of other students?
That's the administrator or security's job.
So, as a teacher, you don't feel like if a child possesses a gun, you should take steps to ensure the safety of those classmates?
If a child possesses a gun, I rely on the people whose job it is to check the child. And
I'm not talking about checking. I'm talking about protecting the other students.
I understand that, but it also could be protection of the other students by not exacerbating the situation.
Okay, so you're saying if a student possesses a firearm, it's better to leave that student in the presence of other students so the students won't become exasperated? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying I would contact security and administration, and they will handle the student.
Okay, so you're essentially saying it's not your responsibility to protect the students.
That's not what I'm saying.
What you're saying is you're going to rely on somebody else to protect the students. Is that correct?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Did you have any conversations with Dr. Parker prior to the shooting?
Yes.
Okay.
It was, I don't know that I would call it a conversation. It was an interaction that lasted about 5 seconds.
Okay. Did you tell her that you believed that JT possessed a firearm?
No, that was prior to my conversation with RR.
Okay. Did you possess any means to communicate with the office while you were out on the playground?
Based on my notes, there was a walkie-talkie. I personally don't remember having it in my possession at recess. I even can't remember what the protocol was that year because they've changed so much. Sometimes there's one walkie-talkie per grade level. At this time, every teacher has a walkie-talkie, but I do not recall the specifics of the walkie-talkie that day.
So you don't remember if you had one or if Ms. Zwerner had one? Or...
I do not know.
Okay. Do you remember if anybody, you or her, tried to make an attempt to contact the office while out on the playground?
No, I did not.
Okay, that's fine. So you didn't observe Dr. Parker's behavior or interactions anytime?
Personally, no.
Can I have a moment, Your Honor? I'm sorry. So when I asked you the question about the walkie-talkie, I believe you indicated that when you looked at your notes, you saw that you indicated there was a walkie-talkie.
That I had one after recess. I do not remember the specifics of it before.
What do your notes say?
That I heard Mrs. Kovac on the walkie saying that she had the shooter.
Okay. I think so. That's all the questions I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Are you ready?
Yes, Your Honor. At the time that you hear Ms. Kovac on the walkie-talkie, where are you?
In my classroom with mine and Abby's class.
Thank you. We know, as you testified, you were observing RR and JT at recess. Without telling me anything that anyone said to you, was your reason for observing them based on things you had heard from other faculty?
Yes.
Your Honor, okay, one moment.
Objection, he's back to what we're trying to get him to say testimony. So, objection to yourself.
That,
He's basically asking, did somebody tell you that there was a problem, which is hearsay, and he's asking for a response.
I'm not. I'm asking for her reaction to receiving information. This is exactly the same in 100 cases where we have asked a police officer, did you receive information that caused you to go to such and such address?
Okay, but there was leading in there because you were leading her to a particular answer. So can you rephrase? I'm going to sustain that objection based on leading.
So, did you go to recess?
Yes. I was later than normal.
Okay. Was there a reason that you were observing JT and RR?
Yes. 2 teachers told me that this is.
So, Judge, if I don't point the witness to something, that we're going to encounter this. So, we can't have it both ways.
Why can't you say without telling me the reason? Was there a reason?
Because the last time I tried to phrase the question that way, it was ruled leading. So I will rephrase the question. Ms. West, without telling me anything that anyone told you, what caused you to observe JT and RR at recess?
Okay, that was not a question that I stated would be the permissible question. So she's observing them, and I guess you're kind of she's observing them based upon a reason. And then what would be the next question? When she says, I'm
What
observing them based
is
upon
the
something
reason?
somebody said to me, then what would be the next question?
That's the whole question. If she says I'm observing him based on what someone said to me, I'm done. That's what I'm trying to get out of her. That's it.
Okay, so that my question, the proper question is, without telling me what was said to you, what was the reason that why were you observing him?
I think that's what I just said, but the judge has asked the question.
Okay, but yes, you have the question, Ms. West.
Now I'm confused.
Okay. Was there a reason you were observing JT?
Yes.
Okay. And without me giving this word somebody said, what was the reason?
There was concern that JT had something that he shouldn't have.
Thank you, Judge.
Any recross?
Sure. So based on your observation, you did not conclude that there was a danger to the students from JT, is that correct?
No, not at recess.
Okay,
It was following recess.
all right. And that was, your concerns came to fruition after your conversations with RR?
Yes.
Okay. So there was nothing to prevent you from excluding JT from his classmates, is that correct?
Nothing to prevent me from?
Yeah. You could have, if you perceived that there was a danger, you could have excluded him from his classmates, is that correct?
But if I suspected what I had been told about, that could have made things worse.
Okay. Did you attempt to take RR to the office?
No, I called the office and reported what RR told me.
Okay. Did you attempt to take JT to the office?
I did not.
Okay.
My last interaction.
Okay. Did you yourself attempt to contact the police about your concerns?
No, I called the office.
Okay. That's all the questions I have.
Anything further for this witness?
No, Your Honor.
And status of Ms. West as a witness?
I'd ask that she remain subject to recall, constructively sequestered.
Same.
Okay. So Ms. West, you are still a witness. You are still sequestered. You may not discuss this case until the